it took me almost 10-15 years to start standing up for myself. I mean, really standing up for myself. Like, I look for an opportunity. Hey, it's Taivy and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is specifically about the mean girl trope or mean girls in college. As you guys know, I graduated already, so I don't have to deal with this anymore, but obviously, like, mean people you're going to encounter everywhere that you go. So I want to tell you guys first some tips on how to deal with mean girls or mean people. And then I want to give you guys a story time on what I went through when I was a little freshman. And I want to tell you guys how I handled my situation and what I could have done better. This video is to give you some advice, but I also want you to learn from my experience, and perhaps you would handle it better than I did because I was so young at the time when I first encountered this mean girl. Now, with that lengthy intro out the way, let's get into the video. So for those of you who are in college still, if you're a freshman, underclassmen, you haven't really figured out like who you are or grown a backbone for yourself. If you're encountering these people, my first piece of advice is to maintain the respect that you have for yourself and let that be the standard in how people treat you. It's easy to say, like, if you don't respect yourself, other people won't respect you. It's also very true that if you do respect yourself, most reasonable people, I believe, will also give you that same respect. I think people should respect people regardless, but for some reason we tend to mimic what we see. And if you tend to carry yourself in a way that demands respect, you are sure to get that. And I think that people who are more softer or more pushover, like, those are the people who get taken advantage of the most. You won't even realize someone's taking advantage of you until it's too late, or you might be the one to allow it to happen to you because a person's seeing you as weaker or unable to defend yourself, whatever. So that's my first piece of advice, is to demand respect for yourself. Respect other people around you, but also respect yourself and conduct yourself in a way that says you're not going to be played with. There are different types of mean people. Some are more obvious, out there and in your face. Some people are more passive and slighted and, do that sneaky, shady stuff, whether it's the stuff they say or the things that they do. However, regardless of what type of mean girl or mean person you encounter specifically in college, like in your classes or in your school clubs or just in your young adulthood, anyway, match that person's energy. That is my next piece of advice before I get into my story. Match that person's energy to show that you can give them back the same nonsense that they're giving you. If you're not a confrontational person, I do not suggest that you do this. But if you're like me, and maybe I'm like this because I've grown into the person that I am, if you're someone who has more of a backbone and someone who's more protective of themselves and someone who's not afraid to be the aggressor if necessary, if someone's giving you that energy and you have time for them, you give them that same energy back. That's only one way to handle it, but I find that to be effective because the person will know from the very beginning that they cannot get over on you and they cannot mistreat you and they cannot put you down. And so you'll usually back off, most likely, if you let it be known that you're not the person that they thought you were, and that on this very day you are not the person that they are going to terrorize, lie to, manipulate, be shady with. You let them know that you're not the one. The third thing that I've learned to do is to call people out on their BS. I've sat in classrooms where I've watched shady girls talk crap about other students. I've watched peers of mine do some disrespectful stuff, and I've been a bystander and I've done absolutely nothing. But after seeing how I didn't like how that felt to watch someone go through whatever they were going through, or even myself to be mistreated, I'm way more vocal about how I feel and my emotions. I let people know straight up how I feel about things. And so if someone's coming to me in a way that I find to be kind of left field and disrespectful, I call them out on it. Don't be afraid to be the person that's like, no, you said this and that was racist. You said this and that was disrespectful. That was inappropriate. If you're, not afraid to tell someone that what they're saying or doing or how they're treating people is wrong, you're gonna have a leg up and also be able to protect yourself, because you're not just standing up for you, you're standing up for other people like you who may potentially encounter this individual. Calling someone out, it sometimes can be a good thing anyway for the person who's being called out on, because they may not even realize that they're being a jerk. I'm not trying to absolve every mean girl in the world of not really being held accountable for their immaturity. I'm not saying that. I'm saying some people may say things a certain way and they may carry themselves in a way that actually might be offensive to others. Who knows what the case may be? Some people are just sensitive. Who knows? That's a whole nother topic. But if enough people are telling them, hey, you're kind of mean, or sometimes you say really shady stuff, whatever the sentence is that calls them out, that if the person's pragmatic or that person has the ability to like understand what you're telling them, that will help them. I'd rather that person get the warning in college than no one ever checking them on their attitude, and they get in the real world and they meet the right person who's going to make an example out of them. Think of it as you're doing them a favor. I need to let you know about yourself right now, because the way you've been treating me and treating other people is not okay. And whatever that sentence has to be for you, that's the one that you use. As long as you're doing it in a way that's respectful and not condescending or talking down on this person, some type of constructive, assertive, this is who I am, you are not going to speak to me this way, and kind of maintain your tone and try not to be like at 100 if they're at 50 and vice versa. My last piece of advice for dealing with mean girls in college is to pay attention to the enablers around them. This is key, because sometimes people just do their antics and do their BS because there's people enabling the behavior. They might have some pick-me friends, some little minions, or their professors might be favoriting them so they get away with stupid stuff, and then they feel powerful. They have all that energy that's pushing them up to be who they think they are. They get a big head and then they act on that. It's not always just the source of the BS and the bullying and the toxic behavior. It could be an entire ecosystem of drama that's just festering this person and giving them the ammo they need, the fuel they need to wake up every day and be the mean person that they're going to be. But if you see someone and they're acting a certain way, or you encounter a mean girl, start to ask yourself, well, who does she hang out with? Who else think this is ha 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 funny? Who else do you need to speak to? Because is the professor in on this too? There's a lot of reasons why mean girls get away with the stuff that they do. Sometimes it's not just them. They have an army of fools behind them, pushing them and enabling them to engage in this inappropriate, toxic, evil behavior that they engage in, and it's not fair. Don't let yourself get played. Don't let yourself be embarrassed or manipulated, or don't let it happen to you, because you don't deserve that. I mean, let's talk about what that does to mental health. There's a lot of reasons why we spiral when we get into our 20s. A lot of it's like arrested development from all the traumatic experiences we had at the hands of mean people, mean girls. It took me almost 10, 15 years to start standing up for myself. I mean, really standing up for myself. Like, I look for an opportunity for someone to try and test me, and I refuse to let myself ever be treated the way that I was treated when I was first going to college. And for that reason, I have a story time for you guys that hopefully you cannot relate to, but you can learn from, so that when you're in college, or even if you're getting a new job, or if you're in any social circle or any environment around other people who could potentially be jerks to you, you'll know how to navigate them and get out of those situations, and you will also handle the situation better than I did. This story takes place back when I was 19 years old. It was at the first college I've ever went to. It was my freshman year of college. I was like big-eyed and bushy-tailed and just super excited to be in college, and I had the same like momentum in my freshman year of college that I did when I was in high school, like being an honor roll student, an AP student, a scholarly, academic, just being a really motivated person who just wanted to achieve and achieve and achieve and achieve. I always wanted to add to my resume and stand out, but I also had the energy behind me to push me to be the leader that I'm always striving to be a leader. I say all that because this person, this mean girl I met, was not in my classes. She was only in a club that I had joined at my college. I went to LIM college in 2014 and I left after 1 year, which I will probably make a separate video for that. But this individual is not the reason I left, but she certainly contributed to my feelings that led me to eventually leave for other reasons. Because, you know, people can affect your choices too, not just situations. I was always super eager, and all of you freshmen out there that are in college, you want to join every club and be part of every committee, participate in everything that you can because it looks good for a job, looks good for everything. You know, you just want to add stuff to your resume, but you also want a real experience in college. So I was a commuter student and I wanted to be part of the fashion show club that they have, because you guys know fashion's my passion. And while I was not studying fashion design at LIM, I was studying business, but I also still loved fashion design so much. And I thought it was cool that our school still had a fashion show every year. The weird thing about their fashion show is that it's not designs made by students. They are usually showcasing designs that are pulled from showrooms around the city. So they have a budget and they get approved to go into these designer showrooms to pull pieces, and they usually pull pieces that are set to a theme that the advisor or professor chooses for the year. When I was a senior in high school, I went to their fashion show when I got accepted as a student, and they had like a Candyland theme, and it was so fun that I sat like in the front row or second row, and I remember thinking, I want to have a show like this. I love fashion shows. I love the magical feeling they give. I love putting on a show. I love producing. I love creating a whole scene. You know, I love that. And I loved how the makeup was done and the hair was done and the choreography and the clothing. So I told myself when I got to LIM college that I would join the fashion show production club and I would actually work very hard to put on a bombshell. Started my fall semester, I went to the fashion show production club intro meeting. You know, every school club has their intro meeting that they do. They kind of introduce the club to you, tell you about it, tell you what to expect, you know, you name it, the usual. I didn't know this, it wasn't usual for me. I had gone to the meeting and they were telling everyone that there were signups for leadership positions. Ding ding ding, a bell went off in my head and I was like, ooh, I love leadership positions. In my mind, people who know me know that I'm the person who's going to be like, I can do it. As 18, 19-year-old Taivy, I was still ambitious. I desired being in a leadership position, not strictly for the title, but because I knew that I could take on the task at building a fashion show. I wanted that opportunity. I wanted that experience. So the positions that were open was, first off, here were all the categories. They had the makeup and beauty team where you could just be on the team and you work with the makeup look, you help people with their hair. Then there was the promo team. They handled all of the marketing. They handled getting an MC, dealt with flyers, the gift bags that we gave out to the new incoming freshmen, and, you know, all the important alumni, whatever. There was also the team that handled the production of the show, I believe. They handled the staging, the lighting, the music, backdrops, and, you know, the props. Like, that's what the production team did. So for all three of those teams, there was a head person for it. But outside of those three categories, there was the fashion show producer and the assistant fashion show producer. Those two people were in charge of everything. They had an opening for assistant fashion show production leader. I signed up to do that immediately. I filled out the application for it. You had to write a little essay, submit your resume to tell them what you're good at and why you think the role is best for you. So I was super eager to get it. I didn't think that I would get it. Actually, like 2 days later, got an email saying that I was accepted as their assistant fashion show production leader. And that meant that I was in charge of all three subsections. So I would oversee every area, and I would also also work closely in tandem with the actual fashion show producer, who is an upperclassman, and I would basically work the whole show. So let me tell you about this mean girl. Let's bring it back to what the point of this video is. Let's give her a name. We'll call her Clara. So Clara was not nice. She was a senior. She was just really self-involved, and by the time she met me, she had her own people that she hung out with, and I'm not trying to hang out with her, but like she had her own people that she dealt with, that she talked to in the club, and made it very clear from the very first day that I was not wanted. So I tried my best to ignore the fact that she never looked at me, she never talked to me. I say hi to her, she would ignore me, she wouldn't say anything. And our first task as the fashion show production team was to put together ideas to our first or second meeting for what the fashion show should be overall. That year, the theme was decades, which is overdone, but they wanted to go back in time to like the Egyptian time, Roman time, to modern day. So I was super excited about it anyway, and I was super enthusiastic. So I remember getting home from school and having all this homework to do, but spending an extra like 3 or 4 hours one night on Polyboard, putting together mood boards, you know, like you can do on Pinterest, but putting together actual mood boards, like cropping clothes together, different aesthetics, different colors, different backdrops, accessories, makeup, hair, clothing, designer ideas that we can pull from. I put together these beautiful mood boards for Grecian, Roman, and Victorian designs, and I think other stuff too. Printed them out on these big pieces of paper with the in color, put them on boards, and I brought them in to the meeting, and I said I took the liberty of working on some mood boards for the show to kind of give you guys some inspiration. So I handed out the boards to the beauty team and to the staging team. I showed everyone like, hey, you guys can look at this for inspiration. Obviously the beauty people brought their own makeup looks into that they had in mind, and everybody was always eagerly working on something. When I was the assistant fashion show production leader, I didn't have a table to sit at. I thought I can just jump around, and that's what I did. So I remember jumping around from beauty to events to promo, but I didn't really have a specific role within those subgroups. So I really couldn't direct anyone or tell anyone what to do. I was also a freshman. I was also new to the entire experience anyway. So I was really there just to learn. And so I remember being in the room with this person, Clara, and asking her questions and showing her my boards, and she picked them up, literally looked at them and said, oh, these are nice, okay, and then put them down and never looked at them ever again. I kind of felt immediately that she didn't value my ideas and value my inspiration, or even acknowledge my hard work and the extra time that I put into something that I was so passionate about. But you know, I didn't take it too personal, but I'm gonna be honest, I think it crushed my spirit a little bit, because it was like my first chance to show like, I'm here, I'm dedicated, I love this group, I'm gonna be the best leader that I can be. Let me prove it to you by showing you guys how dedicated I am to our project. I want to produce an amazing show just as much as you guys do, so the least you can do is value me. And I remember Clara just always kind of pushing me to the side and not really giving me the time of day. And I remember the professor, the advisor, really fawning over her all the time, no matter what she said or did. He just seemed to really be up her butt all the time. He didn't really seem to acknowledge me either. I felt so frustrated, because I'm like, when am I going to have my chance to prove to someone that I deserve to be here? So she always kind of pushed away my ideas. Whenever we were around the room and got to like raise her hand and give an idea, she always overlooked mine. Sometimes she would just give me this look like, oh, you're here. And I could tell, you guys know that feeling where you feel like you'd be better off if you just left the person alone. Like something about your presence, like you feel like if you weren't around them anymore, you have a feeling they'd be happier. That's how I was feeling. I was like, for some reason, my existence throws this girl off, and it was like, is it me? Like, do I smell bad? Felt very self-conscious about myself all of a sudden, because, you know, let's be honest, this person looked nothing like me. The only people she really gave it the time of day to were people who looked like her. And, you know, that privilege really gets under your skin after a while. And I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like it. I was like, I'm sorry I'm not blonde. I'm sorry I'm not tall. I'm sorry I'm not skinny. And I'm sorry I'm not rich. But, you know, I deserve respect. And so I worked so hard, you guys, to kind of prove to this person I was meant to be there. I would listen to all of her ideas, write things down, take notes, go home, try to like make something better. Every time I brought back an idea, they just never went along with any of my ideas. Okay, it's not all about me. At least tell me what I need to know so that I can lead with you, that I can be your right-hand person, because I was hired or chosen by someone, and I realized she wasn't the one who chose me because she really didn't care about me. I'm pretty sure she didn't even remember my name. So I always felt so discouraged, and I remember feeling defeated every time I had a fashion show production club meeting, because eventually I sort of just faded into the background. This person took charge so much that they pretty much never included me in the meetings. They never included me in anything, and I kind of just let it happen. And I remember just fading into the background and feeling invisible. I felt invisible. I felt like, wow, you guys don't care about me. I can stop coming to this meeting and no one would care. Even the professor and the advisor didn't care, because everybody cared about Clara and cared about what she was doing, and they just liked her. And I was a freshman who had no real experience in fashion shows outside of what I've done in high school, and I didn't know what I was doing, even though I was trying to learn the position and be there, be present, and absorb the information. I was getting crap. This girl would give me looks. The way that she'd say things to me was a little condescending. She would ignore me when I asked her questions. It was so subliminal and like slighted and tiny that you didn't really notice on the outside. On the outside, everything seemed fine. But on the inside, I was being crushed. On the inside, I felt like I didn't matter to this person and I was not important, and that she could talk to me in type of way and she could push me down and make me insignificant because that's what I was. I didn't matter because I wasn't a rich kid and I wasn't super skinny, super tall, and I wasn't like her. I wasn't on the brink of having a major career in fashion, so therefore my opinions didn't matter. And I just remember one particular day having a meeting with this person at like one of our meetings. I remember standing in the classroom with them and just feeling completely out of the loop. I didn't know what the events team was doing. I didn't know what beauty or promo was doing. I didn't have a real task. I would have had plenty of tasks if Clara let me do things, but she handled everything herself. She didn't feel the need to teach me, to mentor me, to encourage me, to empower me, respect me, and would always look at me like, you know, kind of give me this defeated, like, why are you here? A type of expression. So after one particular day, I remember I had to go to my math class or something right after. I don't remember. I had another class right after that meeting. And I remember sitting in the hallway and crying, just crying, because I was like, this person's so mean, so rude, but it's more subliminal and it's not so obvious to pinpoint. I felt unimportant. I felt worthless. And I also felt like this person is going to get everything they want. I'm just going to quit. I give up. Let them be the leader. Let them be the head person because they've been working so hard for this position. And I wasn't coming for her position. I was coming for the assistant position so she can teach me how to do her job. That's all I wanted, was to have a seat at the damn table, to be part of the conversation, and I wasn't. And I remember crying about it. And my friend at the time, they saw me crying and they were like, Taivy, what's the matter? Like, you know, what are you sad about? And I told them what happened, and they were like, do you want me to like curse them out? Do you want me to like, as I will, I'll stand up for you. I'll go talk to them, you know? And I remember thinking, oh, no, like, I don't want to make a big deal about it. And like, you know, like hiding away and not trying to be direct with my feelings. I just let this person win. This person at the time, who was my friend, was like, I never want to see you upset like that again. If we ever have class again and I see you crying, you telling me who this person is, and I'm gonna slap them. I'm gonna talk to them about themselves. I admired that courage that that person had at the time. I just remember thinking, I really wish I could stand up for myself the way that this person stood up for me. It was a little embarrassing though, you know, to have another student have to fight my battles for me. I didn't even realize that I was a victim. I didn't realize that I was being so mistreated. I kind of just let things happen the way they were happening. I tried not to let it get to me, but it really did. I cried. I was like, I can't stand this person. This Clara individual made the position a miserable experience for me. I didn't learn anything. I didn't feel like I was contributing, so I wanted to quit. I felt like it was a waste of my time. The way in which I handled this mean girl, this girl who made me feel like I wasn't worth anything, I let her win. I just walked away from the position. I resigned, and I don't think I ever joined another club at that school. Then a few months later, I ended up leaving the school anyway. So I never got to, you know, get my closure from that. Moral of the story is, I wish I stood up for myself. I wish I had told this person that I feel like that they don't value my opinion or value my perspective on things, and I really want to be part of the team. I also wish that I would have spoken to the advisor about their favoritism, because I don't think that that's professional at all. And I would have spoken out more to the actual team behind her, and I think I would have been more direct. Had this happened to me in 2018, 2019, or just within the past 4 years, I'm pretty sure I would have spoken to her immediately and said, listen, we don't have to be friends, but we have to work together and we have to get this show put together, and I'm not going anywhere. I am just as much invested into this project as you are, and for that reason, we're going to put on an amazing show. Now, I don't know what you guys are going through, or if you have any sort of strange, shady divas in your life who kind of push your ideas to the side or push you to the side because they don't really appreciate you enough, or they really don't want you around, so they find ways to kind of weed you out, you know? That's what I went through. Just go back to my advice I gave you earlier to, match that person's energy, to call them out for their disrespect, to actually pay attention to the enablers that they might have around them, and to respect yourself. Don't let people walk all over you. Don't let people make you feel like you're not important. So I don't regret what I went through, because clearly I needed to go through it to give you guys this video and give you some advice so that you can go on about your merry day and deal with this sort of thing in your own personal life. With that being said, that is everything I have for today's video on mean girls in college. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to comment down below what you liked about it and if you want to see similar videos to this one. If you are not subscribed to my channel, be sure to do that now and hit that bell so you never miss a day when I post. I love you all so much for supporting me, and I will see you next week. Bye.